Hey guys, welcome back. So if you watched my video last week, you know, and I kind of teased that this week was going to be about writing that pattern for the cute little red head that I was showing. This whole video was supposed to be like how I write patterns, like the whole process video. That's not going to happen. As it turns out, not every creative plan is going to work out, and I'm really kind of running with that, and that's pretty much going to be the theme for the video this week. So let's have a little chat about creativity, shall we? Okay, and we're back for a little after hours vibe going on. It is like 7:30 on Wednesday evening, and I wanted to have this vlog posted already, but that didn't happen, so we're going to go with it now. We're doing a little after hours chat, and maybe we'll do these again. I don't know. But I am exhausted, so let's get to it. So anyway, about the pattern. I had this pattern in my head, and I decided that I wanted to get this out before Valentine's Day because I thought it would be a cute Halloween kind of pattern. So I started working on it on Christmas Eve. Got the head shape down and was so proud of it and very happy with it. Wrote that down, have it, I learned my lesson about like, oh, I'll remember that. No, you won't. Like pattern writing 101, you will not remember. Write it down. I promise. So I wrote down the steps for bees in here playing. I wrote down the steps for making the head, so I needed to move on to the body, making limbs, all that good stuff. And I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do for the arms, so I wasn't really like stressing about that. But the leg shape would not turn out how I wanted it. If you don't know, there is a lot of math involved when writing a pattern, and things have to look symmetrical, things have to line up. Math needs to math, as the kids say. So none of that was working. And I think also I didn't really have a concrete shape in my head as far as what I wanted. I had like ideas of what I wanted, several ideas, and I went back and forth. I tried this foot and leg shape together, didn't like it, so I tried toes with the foot and the leg, and that was awful. So that was giving me problems. So I was like, you know what, I'm overcomplicating it. Maybe that's what it is, and just do something simple. So I tried like a simple, just like regular, I don't want to say boring, but just like a simple leg. But I didn't want it to be like a standing pattern. I wanted it to sit. And then I was like, well, do I want it to have like stationary legs, or do I want them to dangle? I felt like the little floppy legs would be very cute with this. So I was trying to do that. And, and then, throw in, you've got holidays in there, because like I said, I started writing this on Christmas Eve. There are holidays in there, and then you've got gatherings and like just life. So I sat down maybe January 1st or 2nd, I don't even remember, with my calendar, and was like, okay, let's plan this out because I need to get this going. When you release a pattern into the world, you have to do pattern testing. You've got to make sure that your pattern is written clearly for other people to read and have plenty of progress photos. You have to do a lot of work. There's a lot that goes into it, and I promise when I write my next pattern, I will have all of that in a vlog, or maybe even 2. I don't know. We will get there. So I kept working on it, and I realized that it was just not going to happen. I didn't like the way the arms turned out. I didn't like the way the legs turned out. I didn't like the way the body turned out. Pretty much except for the head, there was nothing about this pattern that was working for me. So this past Sunday, I was working through it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just make it a snuggler. It'll be, you know, a lot more easy. No, no, just stop. So I decided on Sunday afternoon, well, because, you know, just to throw this out there, this was Sunday afternoon. I wanted to actually have the pattern or the tester call posted on Monday. So it was an aggressive timeline, and I thought I was going to be able to hit it. And Sunday, I realized not only am I forcing it, but it wasn't the right time. And I recognized that, you know, while I was working on it, I wasn't happy with various aspects of it. And I just finally decided, you know what? I don't need to do this right now. There are other things I wanted to do for Valentine's Day. I don't have to have a pattern. I'm planning on doing like a very small plushie drop in my Etsy store. I don't need a pattern right now. I can wait, and it's okay. I have plenty of other things that I want to make. I want to do some voodoo dolls in some different colors, and I don't think I'm gonna I don't feel like digging my yarn out right now. I am exhausted. I can't remember if I said that or not, but I am like super tired right now, and I have a long night left, a lot of night left. So anyway, I think maybe in the next video we'll talk about the color options. But anyway, back to what I was trying to say. What was I trying to say? I don't even remember. I decided, you know, the pattern's not going to happen right now. That's fine. It's just not the time for it. I don't have, if I had like 8 hours a day to devote to it, I could get it done easy. But unfortunately, I do not have 8 hours a day. I have maybe an hour and a half to 2 really good, good hours of like brain power where I can do something creative with the math involved and you know, just trying to make these things work. So we're going to push that, and that's fine. You know, not right now is not the same thing as never. So we're tabling that, and I was discouraged for a little bit, but you know, like I said, there were some things that I wanted to do for my shop, some physical plushies. So I decided, you know what, I just need to start working on those, because today's the 14th. I originally wanted to have like everything ready by the 15th, and that's not going to happen either. It's been a long start to the year, but anyway, I bought 2 new patterns, one that has nothing to do with Valentine's Day, and then another one that I went back and forth on. I've mentioned before on this channel that I wanted to write a pattern for a voodoo doll snuggler. When I looked on Etsy, there were already some in existence, and one thing, and I will touch on this some more in my pattern writing video, one thing that's really important, especially now in the crochet community, is to make sure that you are not copying somebody else's work. If something already exists, then, you know, I'm not going to try to do the same thing, because, I mean, honestly, with a voodoo doll, there's only so much that can be done with it. I mean, it's a simple concept. So, you know, my snuggler is going to look the same as the one that's already out there. So I was like, you know what? I'll scrap that one, and I will just buy the pattern and make them and sell them. You know, the work's already done. I don't have to do the math. So, which is a good thing. So I bought the Hexley, the Voodoo Doll Snuggler from Loops with Lauren. I have another one of her patterns. I think it's Bexley, the bug, and then the little Luna Moth mod for it. I haven't made that yet, and I've had that pattern forever. We'll get to that eventually. I might actually do the bug for Valentine's Day also, like a love bug, but I don't know. But anyway, I bought the Voodoo Doll Snuggler pattern, and I'm almost finished with 2 of them. The first one I did in gray. Snugglers are so funny because they have hips. Like, I know you're supposed to hold them a certain way to make them look, you know, whatever. But, you know, just as they are, it looks like a gingerbread cookie or something. But anyway, this is the like silver from in Sweet Snuggles Light. And it's so soft. This was a good skein of Sweet Snuggles Light. Sometimes I call it Sweet Struggles Light. But anyway, this one wasn't one of those. So I've got the body made. I still have to do all of the details and everything and make the heart. And then the other day I made one out of the Bernat Almond, which is, this is the color that I always do my regular voodoo dolls in. Again, I still need to do the heart and everything. Now, the head and the arms are different. I don't know if you can really tell, but the head is a little bit bigger. I think I just have a few more rounds at the bottom. The head and the arms on this one were part of the snuggler that I was trying to design. So the arms are a little bit different. I used half doubles. Half doubles? Yeah, I did half doubles on the arms, and just in her pattern it's just singles. So they're just a tiny bit bigger. And then like I think my tension was a little bit different too. Like I was kind of aggravated when I made him, and I think you can probably tell. But anyway, so I've got these two guys made, and I'm going to do some different color options. But I'm not going to do like a whole bunch because I don't have the yarn for it, and I just don't have the energy for it. So, but that's where we are right now. And hopefully next week I will have more finished so I can show those off. But I just mainly wanted to kind of like, since I had planned, you know, the process video today, and I had talked about it very briefly in the last vlog, you know, what I wanted to do this week. I really wanted to have that pattern ready, but it's not his time, and that's okay. We'll pick him back up later on, and it'll be fun. And I'll remind everybody like, hey, this is the one that I was struggling with after New Year's. I really didn't want to force it. It wasn't the time for it, and you know, that is a part of the creative process that I don't think everybody really wants to even acknowledge. Like everything, it just seems like, especially now with instant gratification and social media and everything has to be perfect right out of the gate. And a big part of writing patterns not only is math, but it's the experimentation part of it, and that is the fun part. Like figuring out what legs are going to work, and figuring out, does it look better standing or sitting, or you know, should the arms be facing forward or should they be hanging to the side? Like, and then that was another thing. Should the legs be on the side or should the legs be in the front? Like, it's this whole thing, and you have to experiment with it and just see what works for each individual thing. Back to the creative process, like I was forcing everything, and the process should be fun. It's, you know, I feel like creativity is such a gift, and I feel like we should be, as creators, we should, you know, always try to honor that gift and not try to force it and make it into something that it's not. And that's kind of what I was doing. Like, it wasn't working. I was trying to force it, and I knew if I continued doing that, it was not going to work in the end. And plus I was getting frustrated. And, you know, part of that whole process is just trying to enjoy it, and, you know, just trying to be happy with each step of the way. Like, oh, well, you know what, this arm didn't work, but maybe this one would. And it was getting to the point where I like, well, this one's not going to work, so who knows what this next one's going to look like. And when it got to that point, I definitely knew, okay, there's too much negative. I'm going to sound really woo-woo right now. There's too much negativity surrounding this, so we need to just put it aside, come back when we are fresh and positive. Because and this is another, like, this is why I don't really like to batch create things. I never want crocheting to feel like a chore. I do it for stress relief and like a mental mental break, except for the math, which I think that, you know, trying to write a pattern coming off the holidays was kind of stupid on my part, but I thought I'd give it a try. And I know not to do that again. But, you know, crocheting for me is supposed to be soothing and a creative outlet and, you know, all that good woo-woo stuff, like I said. But when it stopped becoming that, I knew it was time to, like, okay, this is not what needs to happen. I'm not going to force it because I'm not going to be happy with it. And my main goal is to only do things that make me happy and do things that make other people happy. And if I'm not happy with it, other people aren't, you know, there's a chance that other people aren't going to be either. And I don't want that. So that's just my little rant, or my little TED talk on creativity, which I don't even know if any of it made sense, but I am very tired, and I think I'm going to go watch a true crime show before my husband gets home. So, and just try to unwind by watching true crime, because that's what I do. So, check back next week, and we will be talking about Halloween and what I'm making. And hopefully I'll have something other than these half-made voodoo dolls ready. So, if you have stuck around, thank you so much, and I appreciate you being here. If you are curious about what I'm doing next week, subscribe, like, comment. So, I guess that's it for now, and I will see you next week.